The ultimate final robot apocalypse book has been written. If you've been looking for the quintessential robot apocalypse book to read, now you have it. This is it. You can read this and finally have some closure. If you have been writing a Robocalypse book, there is no point anymore. Just move on to something else. Day 0 takes place on the day of the robot uprising. The robots in this world are somewhat sentient and they're conflicted whether they're doing things because they're programmed to or they really want to do them. There is a kill switch, of course, so they never know if they would indeed just kill their owners. But one day, the kill switch gets turned off and we find out what happens. A wonderful thing about this book is that most Robocalypse stories are from the perspective of the humans, but there's only one viewpoint character in this book, and it's a robot. It's what they call a nanny. Looks like a tiger, so a little bit of Calvin and Hobbes vibes there. His name is Pounce, and he loves the kid he's taking care of, Ezra. It's about his inner conflict of, do I join the robots and get my freedom, or do I protect this kid I care about so much? Their relationship is written beautifully and you really come to care about them a lot. The whole apocalypse thing is a bit too sudden. So there's a kill switch, but then there isn't. I think it's way too easy to turn off. So you just gotta accept it. It's not the strength of this book. There's also the weird thing that robots are all different brands, right? But they can all get the same centralized updates. This is something I hate a lot about this type of stories. They always assume there will be a central control. Maybe it's okay in older stories, but today we know that you can't send the same update to an Apple phone and an Android phone. And an iPad has a different OS than an iPhone or a Mac, and these are all under the same brand. I would highly expect all the different types of robots to run different operating systems. I would expect them to get their updates from different servers depending on the brand. It just doesn't make sense to me to be able to have one big centralized update hack for every single robot in the entire world. It's just too simple, but you have to accept it. It's not the point of the book, but I wish there was more complexity there. Another problem I had was that there was a lot of telling in this book. There are extended sections where it feels like the robot is filling you, the reader, with info dumps. Oh yeah, years ago there was this, so the family had to do this to make sure it never happened again. That kind of thing takes me out of the story immediately. It almost feels like those sections were added afterwards because maybe some early readers were confused. I don't know. I think they break the immersiveness of the narrative. I think there are much better ways to handle that kind of exposition. On the other hand, the book is pretty short, around 300 pages, I think. So sometimes you just gotta do some telling and get it over with. It makes things quicker. Otherwise, you could end up adding another 100 pages to justify delivering information, which might not be ideal. So I get that there was a choice to make. Another problem I had was that towards the ending, 20% or so of it is just gunfights, and I got super bored. But I generally don't like battle scenes. It is what it is. I read mostly fantasy and sci-fi, but for some reason I just don't like battle scenes. I only care about the result because I don't think much happens during battle scenes generally. And this felt a bit like that to me. The result of the scene was important, but during it I got bored. Some of the smaller fights were far more interesting because there are quite a few personal fights. Those were the most interesting to me. I think it's a shame that the last part ended up being a battle scene in a book like this where it's not really the point. I almost took out a star for that, but then I was like, no, the story is too original to not give 5 stars. And the conclusion is emotional and beautiful. And here's the thing. All the world building and twists and turns and battles and weapons and tech and whatever don't matter at the end of the day. People remember how a book made them feel. Emotional arcs are more important for me, and this book delivers an amazing emotional journey. I think whether you like sci-fi or robot apocalypse stories or not, you should check this book out. It's very good. It's written very well. There's another book by the same author called Sea of Rust. I think it takes place in the same world, but much later than this book. I haven't read that one. If you have read it, let me know what you thought. I might check it out too, but its blurb doesn't sound as interesting as this one, so I'm not sure yet, but that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like to let me know, and don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews, and I'll see you next time.
Goose breeze. Goose breeze. Scent. Lilac. Lilac. Goose. 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 Goose breeze. Lilac. Goose. 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 Goose breeze. Lilac. Scent. Goose breeze.